All right, I got a couple of things that I want to talk about. You can, just throw it in with money and say it has to do with money. Hope I don't forget my ideas again. um, I wanted to talk about representing healthy competition versus toxic competition, or anything with competition. So representations and competition. Okay, so let's start with competition. You have to remember that competition can make you way better than you are. And honestly, I don't know about. I mean, in sports science, I'm sure that because they have programs like that, even in universities now, they have sports science courses and stuff. People will tell you that, like generally, like okay, so you have a level of potential, right? If you are put with the higher caliber group or people who are at a higher level of competition, you will be doing better. Doesn't necessarily mean you'll be doing as good as them, maybe, but they can push you to be better. So there is a healthy competition, and then there's a toxic competition. There are also people who like going lower in level of competition so that they can, shine a little bit more, or whatever the case is. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But okay, so healthy competition promotes people to put in an effort. There's supposed to be some kind of enthusiasm in competition. Versus, we're all bored at the office and we don't have shit all to do, and we're just looking forward to the weekend, and this job is not fun at all, which is pretty much lower level companies. But competition, when it's healthy, it's promoting just it just has an overall good feeling to it. Now, toxic competitions or toxicity is just horrible. It's like somebody picking a fight with you for beating them in a video game, or in a penalty shootout or something. You know what I mean? Somebody cursing at you, vowing revenge, vowing to, oh, you'll get yours, or you're gonna get it, or I'll never quit till I die, I'm gonna make sure you get yours. That shit is called toxicity. That's just toxic. Whether you're a man or a woman, I don't know much about the women's world, obviously, but if you're a man and you act like that, you're not looked at as manly at all. Yeah, I'm sorry, but honestly, anybody upwards of the age of 13 years old is gonna call you a bitch. Okay, and I just, dude, the thing is that there are people who stick in like the small little communities, and they're all toxic inside. They all talk shit, and the thing is that there's nobody calling them out because they don't want to go out in the world. They don't want to shine. They don't want to go on an international level. They don't want to be around other communities and other people. They're just happy staying in that little ignorant zone of ignorance where they can express all their toxic feelings. And really, the only person that's going to check them is going to be someone in their group, and that's fine with them. As long as it's somebody within their shitty little group that slaps them out, they don't really care. They'll even, whatever. But, that's the deal with toxicity. How dare you beat me? How dare you show me up? How dare you do better than me? And it's like, why am I hearing that from some bitch? Why is some bitch coming and telling me, oh, you're gonna get it. Oh, he's gonna give it to you. Where the fuck is he, man? Why is he such a bitch? You know what I mean? Toxicity is just no good. But we'll move on from that. Representation is something I wanted to talk about. Representation is a big thing. So before we get into this, I want to tell you on my behalf that I wasn't representing shit, okay? and I was just hanging from a thread, okay, all my life. And I never, I I never wanted to, like, I literally just spent a lot of time in solitude. Okay, even growing up as a baby, as all that stuff. I mean, older people didn't want to talk to me, right? Because they felt like I was too young and that it was not right or it was embarrassing or whatever the case was to talk to somebody so young and talk to them on an even level. You know what I mean? So they were just like, okay, let's just let it go. So I spent a lot of time by myself. I didn't used to leave my house really, unless it was to play video games at somebody else's house or play basketball. That was it. Somebody would have a basketball net, and then we could play basketball over there. And really, you can play, like when I was growing up, basketball was one of the best sports to play. And the reason is that when you play soccer, typically you need an indoor court or an outdoor court, and you need a lot of players to play on the field. There are people, and then there's people who play in leagues, so they have soccer leagues, and they play in these leagues, and then they pay a lot of money for it. But basketball costed $10 back in the day, $5, 10. Well, a decent basketball was like $10. Somebody had a basketball net, you could just wheel it onto the street or you could keep it on their driveway. And like when I was young, you could just play one-on-one. So you just needed two people. So you needed one friend to play one-on-one. And if you had four guys, you could play 2-on-2. If you had three guys, you could play American. If you had six guys, you could play 3-on-3. Okay. And that was all cool. Right? But other than that, I never used to go out, and people were always telling me all the goddamn time, you need to go out more. You need to go out more. Everybody would be saying that. People at school would say to me, why are you always hiding? I always came in 5 minutes late because I knew I didn't have to see anybody. You know what I mean? Like I knew which entrance to go to class and how to not, come across anybody. I was pretty much dodging everybody. The reason is that I just didn't feel healthy. I just didn't feel like I had no enthusiasm with any of this. And the fact was that I wasn't breaking down in the solitude. In the solitude, I found ways to read and play video games, and then go on the computer and learn stuff or play other kind of games. So it wasn't really a big deal. I was, and I'll be very honest, I was never a complainer. I didn't complain about anything ever. Okay, I never used to complain about anything. It wasn't until like 2014 when I just started. I kind of raised my standard. I started pushing my standard. I started getting into a lot of activities, working full time, doing all sorts of stuff, taking vacations and trips all the time. And then eventually I came back and that was all done. And then I turned back into what I always wanted to do. And I always wanted to experience real action. Meaning I don't want to just join something and train and hang out all the time. Like I was actually looking for real action. And Robin a band gave me that, to be very honest. It was as real as it got. You know what I mean? That was a real situation. And it happened. So anyways, now that I let you know where I'm coming from for you to understand. Representation for me back in the day was hanging by a thread. Representation for me today, I'm a different person now. Me having the ability to change and grow has brought the best out in me, and the best is yet to come. Okay, I have no. As far as so yeah, I listen. We don't need to repeat things. I post a lot of videos, and you guys can see, hear stuff and all that stuff. I'm not in bad shape and all that at all, and whatnot. Now, that being said, what I wanted to talk about was representation. So, when you're young, when I was young, they had the Mississauga Monarchs. Now, I just didn't have money to join any league, but I knew somebody was very good at basketball, and they had a team called the Mississauga Monarchs. Okay, for the Monarch Butterfly, they were supposed to be the best team. You know what I mean? So this guy was representing for his team. All right. Now, as long as I knew this guy, he never really got into any kind of street stuff. He never got into academics either. That was all he knew, and that's what he had been doing since he was a little kid, and he was very good at it. And he always represented sports and basketball, no matter where he went. He was coaching kids' teams. He was playing on every school team, every league team, and I mean, I don't think he ever made it really, but, you know, it is what it is. I don't think he was really good enough to really, you know, you got to be really, really good to make it in pro sports. You got to be something, like, you got to be 1 out of, like, 100,000, man. You got to be really good, okay? So, moving on, for me, what I'm trying to say is that historically, representation is just hanging on by a thread. At this point, I'm willing to represent everything that I am. And whoever I am, and whatever I'll do, and I believe in healthy competition. So if there are people who are like even if we're in the same league and we play together, be it whatever activity it is, you know, I can represent. You know, everybody has some area or something that they're representing. Some kind of, you know, maybe a street, maybe maybe a neighborhood, maybe a city, maybe a country, you know, internationally. But the truth is, you know, competition is big, and that's representation. Representation is just representing your place, and you're wanting. And for me, what it means is look, if I'm in a section, my section should do better than the other sections. That's all it is, really. You know what I mean? And it's and. To me, like, look, if there's an old lady or a mother who has a son playing in the soccer league, for example, or in any kind of competition, and she sees her son losing horribly, she sees that her son, like, everybody thinks her son sucks. There's a kid who nobody's vouching for, or in that league, you know, she's just gonna hand the medal and the trophy to her son. Okay, always remember that. But remember that that's going to break him down. Because everybody's going to think that he was a pussy. Always. I'm not talking about coward. Everyone is going to think he's a pussy. Okay? His whole life he's going to walk around, unless he redeemed himself, which he won't. And that's what's going to break him down. And then, and as it breaks him down, it's going to break her down. When he breaks down, she's going to be breaking down. That's typically how competition is. So remember, even if you make a mistake, even if you lose, you might have like dude, you might have just gained something. You know what I mean? Don't always take an L or a loss for I lost. No, maybe you gained something, man. Right? Now that covers pretty much everything. I'm trying to see if there's anything I can anything else I can say? Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I can stress this again that you know, it's always been in my head that wherever I am, it has to be like that place has to be better than the other places. You know what I mean? And that's all it is. And that's all it is. I got nothing else to say. I think that was a well done video. I got everything in that I wanted to. I don't feel like there's any content that I'm leaving out. So what I'm going to say is, well, we'll just end this here.